GM, and today's video, I'm gonna show y'all all the Lee Chaolans weaknesses and how to overcome them. All right, so that's what we're gonna do. I feel like a lot of people don't know Lee Chaolans weaknesses, and a lot of people have trouble to overcome them. So I'm gonna show y'all some of his weaknesses right now. All right, so one of Lee Chaolans weaknesses is that his tracking isn't so good, right? And also his range isn't so good. So see, you could backdash out of a lot of stuff, especially if you have a character with good movement. You saw how I just backdash and launched like nothing? See? And also after poking it, the range isn't that great neither. You could just backdash, you see? And then down 3, the tracking isn't so good. See? It's easy launch. You have to really step right when he does it though. He's dashing up, so it makes it harder to sidewalk. I'll give you an example. Let's say if I just do it like this after negatives. I guess her step isn't that good, but usually that move doesn't track at all. So I guess it depends on the character. So Safina's sidestep isn't that good, but most characters can sidestep this both ways. Like if you just run up and down 3, you can sidestep that anyway. And his launch punishable, of course. Also, another issue with Lee is that his armor move, you can duck it, you see? So you can option select his armor move. Also, he has to set up the counter hit to get damage. So basically, after you make somebody block any of his moves, like back 4, if you think they're gonna do a high, you have to hard read to get the counter hit. That's another issue too. Sometimes it doesn't instant high crush. You see, I did 444 and I got jabbed out of it. So that's one issue he has. Also, is that his high crushes don't instantly high crush. They only high crush when they come out. So you see, I keep getting jabbed out of 444. You have to do it like kind of instantly, and with lag it is kind of funky. But you have to, it's not consistent, a high crush window on that. Same with down 2. The crush window on down 2 is inconsistent. If you play somebody with like shitty timing, you see, if they delay, they could beat you out of it too. So his moves don't instant high crush. So you have to be careful. So you have to make hard reads like that to get a counter hit. And it becomes hard because if you guess wrong, you see, you get hit on counter hit. If you guess wrong or launched or something. See? So in that situation, then that's when you start doing 2-2-3s, right? See? Somebody starts doing mids, but then you know her down for 2 high crushes. See that? So it's a lot of reads. So in situations like that, you could just backdash also. You have to keep out move. You can backdash and let him whiff. See? And then you can punish right there. So it's a lot of messing around with negative frames and stuff like that. Let's say your opponent is trying to beat you out of, you know, your 444 high crushes, right? That's when you start doing magic 4s to beat out the mid. But the issue with that, of course, somebody could just backdash and launch you, or step launch. And then when you start doing that, then you could do double DF1s, right, to stop them from stepping. But then they could backdash and launch you. See? So there's a lot of stuff you have to think about playing with Lee. So Lee's biggest issue is that he has to get a counter hit to get big damage. You have to get the, you know, the down 3. The down 3 pickup. You have to get the down 3, but then of course there's a big risk with the down 3, with it not tracking, and also it being launch punishable. So if you're playing somebody and you're trying to poke up, and they just like you know, backdashing, sidewalking. Also, his range ain't that great, so it forces you to have to come in and attack. And the issue with that, of course, is that you get run into a launcher. You have to really be careful with Lee coming in. Creating an offense is the hardest thing to do with Lee Chaolan, because if you find somebody that's just turtling all day, you have to figure out stuff like that. But you gotta be careful with that, because you see, you could just easily jab him out of it, and then you could just sidewalk it too. So that's a big issue with Lee. He has trouble with like keep out and trying to come in and do an offense. And also when it comes to 50-50s, his 50-50s are pretty risky. Like if somebody's playing defensive, you could do a slide mix-up, right? You could do while staying 2-4. Issue with that is you could duck the second hit and launch him. I'll show you. See? You can also, the range is bad too, you see? If somebody spaces right and just backdashes, you can avoid it. See? Bad range. So you're kind of forced to do that. The issue with doing that is, though, zero tracking. So as you can see, it's really, really hard to play with Lee Chaolan. And defensively, you pretty much, when somebody just playing defense like that, and then, you know, step into your weak side and stuff, you have to figure out ways to deal with that. And then if you know, let's say you're doing down for one of the 4-4-4, a lot of people are going to step to this side. And then if you do down for one of the down two, they're also going to step to this side. See, that's when you start doing moves that track that way to stop them from stepping that way. See, the lows don't track neither. That's another thing too. So with Lee, you don't really need to take his poke game, because you could just start stepping back dash out of all his pokes. So you saw how he easily stepped the down back 3 after plus it tracked, but there's no reason not to guess, right? Because if you run up and down back 3 somebody, right, you could get 1+2 out of it. You could also get stepped and launched. So you don't need to just sit there and guess on Lee stuff. But if somebody's ducking your down back 3, back 4 is the way to stop them from ducking, because it looks the same. The issue with it is that it's not a launcher, so people are not going to be scared to eat that a bunch of times. And when it comes to mixing up down 3, you have a confirmed 4-2-1, you have down forward 1, you have standing 3, and you could just hop kick too. So there's a lot of ways to mix up your down 3 with stuff, but at the end of the day, down 3 is a very risky poke to do, because it doesn't track. You can just sidewalk and launch them. And then on hit, it's negative. You gotta be careful. So let's say you do down 3 and hitman 3, right? And somebody starts doing that. That's when you start doing the hitman 2, the high crush shit. See? So there's a lot of hard reads. That's a very hard read. I have to read that they're gonna do a jab or not. So yeah, if somebody's playing defensive, you have options, right? You can do slide mix up. You also triple the slide, you see, to get really close. But like I said, one of the weaknesses is the range, of course. See, I'm just backdashing out of it. I don't need to guess. You can step it too. Range, see? You know what's coming. So it's really seeable if somebody does it from far. If somebody does it from up close, it's way harder to block. So never do slide from really far, because then somebody's gonna be able to, you can see it on reaction if it's from a distance. So that's some of the ways to open somebody up. Of course, slide while staying forward. Of course, poking, generic down back 4s, of course down back 3, that's seeable though, so don't do that too much. Down 4s are right, it's punishable, but if somebody starts punishing, you get the counter hit. Of course down 3, but of course that's also something you don't want to do too much. But in general with Lee, you just want to, the best way to overcome his weaknesses is just, you know, fish for the counter hits, right? Play a lot of keep out. His strengths is all counter hits and keep out, making it hard for somebody to come in, you see? So focus on that. If you focus too much on 50-50s and poking, it's really risky. Like I said, you know, you're gonna get launched, you're gonna get outspaced, and then you're gonna start running into stuff. And then if you try to open somebody up, somebody's just gonna sit there and just guess all day, because his 50-50s are not very strong. See, now I got a full launch just for guessing. You know what I'm saying? And then this is only +2, so people are not gonna respect that move on hit. They're gonna just step, or they're just gonna backdash after getting hit by it. And then you're gonna have to figure out a way or something to do. Let's say I do this because I think you're gonna swing. Now I'm launched, you see? Then what can you do? You could do instant running. You see, you could get jabbed out of it, or you could just get stepped. Somebody could just backdash out of it, right? See? And then if you notice, if you're doing down for ones and somebody side stepping and duck it, of course you could do 1+2 homing move to stop them. Well, yeah, just make your opponent block stuff, and go from there to set up the counter hits. Like I said, down forward 1, they do high, they do mids, 2-2-3 or magic 4. They do highs, 4-4-4. You can also just do empty stuff too, in case your opponent is, you know, see, trying to read something. So playing as safe as possible is the key, and only going for slide stuff when you really get the hard read that they're gonna guess is fine, right? But in general, spacing and setting up your counter hits is good. But that's a lot of Lee's weaknesses. He has trouble opening people up defensively. A lot of times when somebody plays really defensive against Lee players just tend to spam slide a lot. But that's like a big gamble, right? Always going for this and always going for this. Because all your opponent needs to do is guess right one time, and you pretty much losing the whole momentum and everything. So it's like something that's good to do once in a blue, but don't focus your whole, you know, trying to open somebody up just doing slide mix-ups. When you could do safer stuff like down back 3, back 4, just down 4, generic down back 4, down forward 1s. Like me, I'd rather just poke somebody up to make a comeback rather than risk my whole bar and do like some slide shit that's probably gonna get punished really hard, you know? And of course you got Silvertail, right? To open somebody up. One of the issues with Silvertail though is that it's pretty seeable. Like you know it's coming. You could see it coming. So a lot of times, like this low, I wouldn't suggest doing it too much, because the only way you could really mix it up is doing wall rousting and 2-3s and stuff like that. And yeah, I don't think you just want to just do raw stuff like that. So this I'll use it sparingly, but I will really use it too much. I'll try to mix it up with Hitman 1+2. I'll mix it up with that. But I also use that as keep out too. So that's Lee's main weakness, is that he has to get a counter hit, and it's really hard for him to open somebody up, and he doesn't have a lot of range, so you could just play keep out and keep sidewalking him. And then defensively, you don't really have to worry about anything. You're just gonna, you know what I'm saying, he's not gonna do a lot of damage. And then his better lows like this is seeable. Like it's +4, but you can see that, you know. And then this move too, you can see that too. And it's only +3. So he has a very hard time opening somebody up. So don't focus too much on opening people up, and just fish for your counter hits. But if somebody knows you're just gonna go for counter hits, like I said, they're just gonna turtle up and make it really hard for you to hit a counter hit. Because if somebody's just blocking, you know, just moving and stuff, Lee can't really do any damage. His most damage stuff is from counter hits, or, you know, trying to mix you up with slide shit. That can be really risky, you see? So that's it, man. This is all Lee Chaolans' weaknesses. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. He does have a lot of trouble with certain things, but you know, if you try to play solid and don't focus too much on 50-50s, because he doesn't have a lot of 50-50s. You mix this up with this, that's not a lot of damage. You mix up down 3 with hit confirms, you know, and stuff like that. But of course, this is really risky. Launch punishable, easily sidestepped, so that's another risk. So it's hard, Willie, man. Like, you have to like poke to open somebody up, but you also don't want to poke too much, because you don't want to get launched. And then you don't want to do slide stuff too much, because you don't want to get punished really hard. So I hope this video helped everybody. Be sure to subscribe to my content. Twitch.tv fightinggm_Tekken is my Twitch, and then everything else is fightinggm TikTok, Twitter, all that stuff. Check out nexus.gg/fightinggm for my Capcom store. Check out metafy.gg fightinggm for my coaching for Tekken. And also check out my Rogue Energy and check out my HelloFresh sponsorship. Get some fresh foods to your house, you heard? On that note, take care and peace out, everybody. Peace.